Did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. So tonight we are talking about a movie that just came out called The Room. Don't confuse it with the Tommy Wiseau movie, The Room. That's a cult classic. Trust me, the acting is way better in this movie. But I really did like this movie. I thought the idea was fantastic. It was something a little fresh and different. Could have been a little bit too long, but you know, it is what it is. But basically, it's directed by Christian Volkman. He's got a slew of short films under his belt. In fact, I think this might be his first feature length. And then basically the main stars are Olga, Kirilenko, and you will immediately recognize her face if you're a fan of James Bond, because she was the main star in Quantum of Solace. And then she was also in The Hitman and a few other movies. As soon as you see her face, you'll recognize her if you don't recognize the name. And then Kevin Jansen. Now, I recognize his face right away because he was in one of my favorite movies from last year called Revenge. He was the main antagonist in that movie. And I'm telling you, if you haven't seen the movie Revenge, make sure you get it in soon, because that movie, it's killer. It really is. No pun intended. It is fucking killer. So, but anyways, those are your two main stars. They play Matt and Kate, and I'll give you the quick synopsis. Matt and Kate buy an isolated house. While moving, they discover a strange room that grants them an unlimited number of material wishes. But since Kate has had 2 miscarriages, what they miss the most is a child. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I mean, basically the first act, and the first act moves along at a great pace. They're moving in. We get a very small background history of what went on in this house prior to them moving in, where the 2 parents were murdered by the son. I think it was like 40 years ago or 50 years ago. Nobody's lived in the house since. These guys get it on a great deal. They move into it, and then they discover the room. It's almost like a genie in a bottle, only instead of getting just 3 wishes, they get anything unlimited that they want. So, I mean, they start asking for money and fucking clothes and like famous art pieces, just everything. You name it, they can get it. And then near the end of the first act, we learn 2 things. First of all, you can't take anything outside of the house. Doesn't matter what it is. Money, wine, food, it doesn't matter. Whatever you take, you wish for, and you have in your hand inside the house, you have. But as soon as it leaves and goes into the outside, it turns to dust. The problem is, is that Kate has wished for a child, okay? She didn't want to go through another miscarriage or risk it, so she asked this room for a baby. Boom, there's a baby on the floor, and now they have to fucking deal with this because the kid cannot leave the house or it's gonna fucking turn to dust. So, I don't want to give spoilers away, okay, but you see it in the trailer. You see the child starts out as a baby, and then there's clips in here of like a 10-year-old sort of thing. So what happens in that scene, and it happens early on in the end of the second act, is Kate doesn't know this yet, that you can't go outside. So she leaves the house with the baby, and then it starts screaming and starts, disintegrating or whatever it does to an extent. She runs back in the house, and then it's aged, okay? So that's basically when it turns to dust. Whatever the material stuff is basically it ages it really fast, and then it just turns to dust. It like decomposes, right? So that's what this baby's doing. So it's gone from like an infant all of a sudden to a 10-year-old, okay? So now they have to deal with this 10-year-old kid that she wished for, and you know what I mean? Like, what do? You know what I mean? So they end up doing the right thing and keeping this kid. And they homeschool it, but the kid gets smarter and it wants to go up fucking side. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what they have to deal with in the second act. I mean, the second act is a little slower. This movie's an hour and 40 minutes long. They easily could have trimmed off 10 minutes just to kind of keep the pace going. The second act is kind of bogged down a little bit, but it still tells a good story. And then the third act, I don't even really want to say too much about it. I don't want to give spoilers. It's the less you know going into the third act, the better. But it is really original. There's been a few other movies that may have kind of done this sort of thing, but not like this. You know what I mean? And I thought this was fantastic. The acting was great. I mean, it really did, because there's a lot of dialogue in this movie. There's you know, special effects to a certain extent. A lot of it's practical, it looks like, but I mean, it's just the acting, you know what I mean, and the conversations, and when they're arguing with each other or trying to make these decisions of what's right and wrong, it really does work. You know what I mean? And you know, as the movie gets going and in the second act, you know, and this kid starts to become more aware of itself and what's going on, and you know, that there's stuff beyond the walls here. He kind of pits the two parents against each other, you know what I mean? And then stuff happens. Obviously, you know that. But man, I like this movie. I thought it was fairly original for a first feature-length film from Chris Volkman. I thought he did a fantastic job. I mean, it looked like the movie was under control. He knew what he was doing. The actors wanted to be there. The performances were great. So, I don't know. I recommend this movie. To give it a rating, I would probably give it like a 7, a good strong 7. Yeah, I didn't go to my phone once. So I wouldn't really call it a horror movie. It's more like I don't know, like a sci-fi kind of a mystery movie, maybe. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely worth a watch. I got it recommended to me, actually. My friend Jay messaged me a couple days ago and asked me if I'd seen it yet, and he said he really enjoyed it, and we kind of like the same style of movie. And he said it was kind of an older style, had kind of an older style horror feel to it, and I guess it kind of did. I mean, the horror genre is massive, right? So, but no, I sat down and watched this thing, and I really did enjoy it. Yeah, it's original, well acted, and definitely worth a 7 in my opinion. So, anyways, if you guys have seen this, it's out now. If you've seen it, let me know what you think of it. You know, do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you think it was an original idea? I'm not sure, but yeah, the ending of this movie is pretty cool too. So, but anyways, if you've seen it, let me know what you think. If you haven't, go rent it. Come back here and let me know what you think then, guys. And yeah, The Room, 2019's The Room, not the Tommy Wiseau one. But yeah, let me know what you think. And until next time, guys, stay scared.